Imagine selling millions of records, winning Grammy Awards, and defining the sound of a generation, only to wake up sleeping under a truck on Hollywood Boulevard or curled up in the front seat of your own car. It sounds impossible, even absurd. Yet for many music legends, this devastating fall from grace is not rumor or exaggeration, but lived reality. This is the dark, rarely discussed side of fame, the brutal journey from riches to rags. Behind the red carpets, platinum plaques, and screaming fans lies an industry where colossal success often provides shockingly little stability. Bad contracts, ruthless management, addiction, illness, and neglect can erase fortunes faster than they were made. So the question must be asked, why does global fame guarantee so little security? In this video, we uncover the raw, heartbreaking truth behind these headlines, beginning with the shocking story of Don Robinson. If any of these stories surprise you, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to Secrets of Black Star for the full, unfiltered truth. Don Robinson, a 90s R&B icon who ended up living in her car. Don Robinson was once the unmistakable voice behind the sleek, powerful sound of 90s R&B. As an original member of En Vogue, one of the best-selling girl groups of all time, she helped deliver multi-platinum classics like Hold On, My Lovin', and Don't Let Go. With more than 11 million records sold across En Vogue, Lucy Pearl, and her solo work, and 8 Grammy nominations, Robinson stood at the peak of musical prestige. But behind the polished image, instability followed her career. In 1997, she left En Vogue over contract disputes, later finding success with the supergroup Lucy Pearl. Repeated reunions and exits exposed deeper industry issues Robinson openly blamed on poor management and unfair pay. The true shock came years later. After moving to Las Vegas in 2020, family conflict left her without housing. For nearly 3 years, the R&B star lived in her car with only brief, ineffective help from management. Rather than speaking in shame, Robinson reframed this period as transformative, a harsh but empowering lesson in freedom, resilience, and self-reliance. Charlie Wilson, from funk royalty to sleeping in Hollywood alleys. Charlie Wilson's voice helped define funk and R&B in the 1970s and 80s. As the legendary frontman of the Gap Band, he delivered timeless anthems like Outstanding and You Dropped a Bomb on Me, earning Grammy nominations and deep respect across generations of artists. At his peak, Wilson seemed untouchable. Then the collapse came fast and brutal. In 1986, a dispute with the band's manager over music rights resulted in Wilson and his brothers being effectively pushed out of the industry. Income vanished overnight. Cut off professionally and emotionally, Wilson spiraled into severe addiction. By the early 1990s, the funk icon was completely destitute. From 1993 to 1995, Charlie Wilson was homeless, sleeping in alleys and under trucks on Hollywood Boulevard. He later described hiding his face in shame, using cardboard as a bed and a brick as a pillow, saying, "When the sun came up, I ran like Dracula." His redemption began when a cousin found him and urged rehab. With support, Wilson rebuilt his life, achieved solo success, survived cancer, and became a powerful voice for recovery. A 5-octave voice without a safe home. Chenise burst onto the global music scene in 1991 with a smile, a whistle register, and a voice that seemed unstoppable. Her breakout hit, I Love Your Smile, topped the Billboard R&B chart, reached the top 10 in more than 20 countries, and earned her a Grammy nomination. She made history on Broadway and collaborated with industry heavyweights, appearing to have it all. But commercial success did not translate into lasting financial security. Years of industry instability and inadequate financial planning quietly eroded her foundation. Eventually, Chenise and her husband, actor Flex Alexander, faced a reality few fans could imagine.
Their financial collapse became public through the reality series Flex and Chenise, which documented the family being forced to leave their home and move in with relatives. The once chart-topping singer and her children were suddenly living in cramped, temporary housing, a painful symbol of how fragile fame can be. Despite the humiliation and stress, Chenise continued to work and protect her family. Her story exposes a hard truth. Even extraordinary talent offers no immunity from housing insecurity.
Toni Braxton, 7 Grammys, 2 bankruptcies, no safety net. Toni Braxton's voice is synonymous with elegance, power, and emotional depth. With 7 Grammy Awards, over 70 million records sold, and career-defining hits like Unbreak My Heart, she stands among the most successful R&B artists of all time. Yet her financial story is one of repeated collapse. At the height of her fame, Braxton shocked the industry by filing for bankruptcy in 1998. Despite selling millions, an unfavorable record deal left her with minimal royalties, while legal and management fees drained what little she earned. She was forced to sell personal belongings and rely on temporary housing. A second, even more devastating bankruptcy followed in 2010, with debts estimated between $10 and $50 million. This time, health crises played a central role. Diagnosed with lupus and heart complications, Braxton had to cancel lucrative Las Vegas residencies, cutting off her main income as medical bills mounted. Still, she refused to disappear. Braxton continued recording, touring, and ultimately received a Lifetime Achievement Award, proving resilience, but also revealing how brutally the system can fail its brightest stars. Macy Gray, homeless before fame, honest because of it. Macy Gray's raspy, unmistakable voice made her an instant standout in popular music. Her 1999 debut album On How Life Is became a global success, driven by the smash single I Try, which earned her a Grammy Award and sold over 7 million copies worldwide. To the public, Gray's rise looked sudden and effortless. But before fame arrived, her life was defined by instability. As a single mother trying to break into the Los Angeles music scene, Gray struggled to survive. She worked multiple jobs, bounced between temporary housing, and at times had no permanent place to live, relying on friends just to keep herself and her children off the streets. This period of near homelessness left a permanent mark on her artistry. The pain, uncertainty, and perseverance she lived through became the emotional backbone of her songwriting. Themes of survival, self-worth, and resilience resonated deeply with listeners who heard their own struggles reflected in her music. Rather than distancing herself from that past, Gray embraces it. Today, she uses her platform to uplift others, founding the Macy Gray Music Academy and turning early hardship into lasting creative and humanitarian impact. Eddie Johns, sampled, forgotten, and left to die homeless. Eddie Johns' name is rarely mentioned, yet his music helped shape modern dance culture. His 1979 disco track, More Spell on You, became a foundational groove of its era. Decades later, that same song was famously sampled by Daft Punk in their global smash One More Time, a record that topped charts worldwide and generated millions. While the world danced, Johns received nothing. The royalties were paid to a publisher who claimed they could not locate him. Stripped of income and recognition from his most valuable contribution, Johns' life unraveled. After suffering a debilitating stroke, he became unable to work and fell into extreme poverty. Sly Stone, a funk visionary living in a van. Sly Stone was a revolutionary force who changed the sound of American music. As the mastermind behind Sly and the Family Stone, he fused funk, soul, rock, and psychedelia into anthems like Everyday People and Family Affair. His influence earned him induction into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and a Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award. Yet behind the legacy was a slow, devastating unraveling. Years of severe drug addiction, unresolved legal battles, and catastrophic financial mismanagement drained Sly Stone's fortune. By the 2000s, the man who once commanded sold-out arenas was homeless, living in a small, run-down camper van in Los Angeles. Even as his songs continued to generate massive revenue, prolonged disputes over royalties blocked access to the income he was owed. Stone survived largely on Social Security checks and the kindness of friends. His story is one of tragic irony, a visionary genius who reshaped popular music, yet lacked the protection, structure, and support needed to safeguard the rewards of his own brilliance. Marianne Faithfull emerged from 60s muse to the streets of London. Marianne Faithfull emerged in the 1960s as a symbol of beauty, talent, and cultural rebellion. Her early hit, As Tears Go By, made her a star and a central figure in the British rock scene, admired by fans and legendary musicians alike. At the height of her fame, Faithfull seemed destined for a charmed, permanent place in music history. Then, everything collapsed. In the 1970s, severe substance addiction and anorexia dismantled her career and personal life. Cut off from stability and support, Faithfull fell into homelessness, living on the streets of London, sleeping in squats, and crashing on friends' floors. Her health deteriorated rapidly under the weight of addiction and poverty. This brutal period permanently altered her voice, transforming it from clear and youthful into the raw, raspy tone that later defined her artistry. Against all odds, Faithfull returned with the uncompromising 1979 album Broken English, earning critical acclaim and a Grammy nomination. Her story stands as proof that survival itself can become art, turning displacement and pain into an enduring, brutally honest voice. Dennis Wilson, the Beach Boy who lost everything. Dennis Wilson embodied the carefree California dream. As a founding member of the Beach Boys, he helped create sun-soaked classics like Fun, Fun, Fun and I Get Around. Though often overshadowed by his brother Brian, Dennis was a gifted songwriter and released the critically acclaimed solo album Pacific Ocean Blue in 1977. Behind the image of Endless Summer, however, was a life unraveling. By the early 1980s, Wilson was consumed by chronic substance addiction, which destroyed relationships and drained his finances. Legal issues and instability followed, rapidly erasing the wealth he once enjoyed. In his final years, Dennis Wilson faced periods of homelessness, living out of his car or relying on cheap motels. Once a millionaire rock star, his net worth reportedly dropped to around $10,000. In 1983, at just 39 years old, Wilson drowned, ending a life defined by contradiction. His story is a haunting reminder that fame can mask deep inner collapse, and that success offers no shield against addiction and financial ruin. Mental illness and life in a cardboard box. Bob Mosley was a founding member of the psychedelic rock band Moby Grape, whose 1967 debut is often hailed as one of the greatest rock albums ever made. His songwriting and vocals were central to the band's innovative sound, and early success hinted at a long, influential career. That future was derailed by severe mental illness. While briefly serving in the Marines, Mosley was diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia, a condition that would shape the rest of his life. Combined with Moby Grape's internal conflicts and years-long legal battles over their name and royalties, Mosley's stability collapsed. He eventually became homeless, living in a cardboard box or near a freeway in San Diego. Former bandmates later found him in these conditions and attempted to help him recover. After the band regained control of its name, Mosley returned to music intermittently, despite recurring struggles with paranoia. Remarkably, he continued writing and performing into later life. Mosley's story exposes how untreated mental illness, when paired with industry neglect, can erase even the most promising artistic legacy. These stories leave us with an uncomfortable truth. Fame is not protection, and success is not security. Behind the awards, sold-out tours, and platinum records are human beings navigating an industry that often rewards talent while neglecting long-term care. Bad contracts, poor management, untreated addiction, mental illness, and health crises can dismantle even the most celebrated careers with frightening speed. The lesson is not that these artists failed, but that the system failed them. Their stories remind us that financial literacy, legal protection, and mental health support are just as vital as creative talent. More importantly, they challenge us to rethink how we value artists once the spotlight fades. If these stories moved you, take a moment to reflect on the people whose music shaped your life. Share your thoughts in the comments. Whose story shocked you the most? And don't forget to subscribe to Secrets of Black Star for more untold stories that reveal the real cost of fame, the resilience of survival, and the truths the industry rarely wants you to see.